Okay, guys, this is the weekly roundup for this week from the 31st of January to the 6th of February. Is this going to be another mini boom coming up? Is there signs there in the marketplace? The Halifax has just announced that, they reckon there's been a wee bit of a drop of 0.3% in the property prices. But let's be honest, last year they're saying property prices actually went up 5.4%. So where does this leave us? So let's look at some of the numbers for this week. So we're just going to look at the numbers across Fife. So this is the number of properties, as I said before. This is the number of properties come to market from every single estate agent versus the number of properties sold for every single estate agent across Fife. So as you can see by region, we're looking at Cooper and we're looking at 5 versus 9. So Cooper's got good demand there as well. East Neuk 2 versus 2. There's not much coming to market. You can see by these numbers, actually, there's not much coming to market. And I'll tell you what these signs actually show us. So St Andrews is 8 versus 4. That's no surprise there. St Andrews has always lagged behind for some apparent reason. Everybody is convinced because it's in St Andrews, it will sell. That's not the case. 8 to 8% of all properties listed last year in St Andrews sold. That leaves 12% unsold. St Andrews is one of the very few areas that actually not all the properties were sold last year, when in actual fact, some of the areas like Glenrothes, Leadenmouth, East Neuk, they all sold beyond what was getting listed. So it's a telltale sign about what's going on. It would be interesting to hear anybody's comments about what their thoughts are on the St Andrews property market and where it's going. So Leadenmouth, you can see 11 came to market, 7 were sold. There's no real trend there because it's always been outstripping supply before with demand. Dunfermline 32 came to market, 40 sold in that week. Glenrothes 8 come to market, 13 sold. Kirkcaldy 27 and 30 sold. So overall, right across Fife last week, there was 93 properties listed. There was 105 put under offer or sold, subject to concluded missives. This is basically an offer accepted, pending all the finer details getting sorted out. So it takes me back to talking about what's going on in the market. So I'd done a wee vlog yesterday on the property market. Now, it was all about right across Fife. There's been an 11% drop in Fife homes for sale in the last 3 months. That's an 11% drop in the number of properties for sale in the last 3 months. Now, that's not anything to do with price at all. But what that tells you, if supply is restricted and demand is still there, then price will automatically go up as a result of that. This is simple economics with supply and demand. So over the whole year in Fife, let's look at the whole year, we have 37% properties less than there was 12 months ago right across Fife. So that then tells me, an indication at this time last year, the market was really buoyant in January last year. It was going really well. So we've now got 37% less properties coming to market in the Fife area. We still have that demand out there. It's still there. There's still an insatiable appetite. So it tells me straight away that, we're potentially on for another boom again, and it will still continue to go. So let's look at some of the numbers again, as I said. So across Fife, we'll look at micro regions. Let's look at Cooper then. So there was 15% less properties on the market today in Cooper area than there was 12 months ago. In the East Neuk area, there was 47% less properties on today than there was 12 months ago. So, and the demand's still there. So, there's no surprise that East Neuk's sitting at 120% demand. St Andrews, there was 24% more properties coming to market. There's bucking the trend. There was more properties on last year, this year, than there is on last year. And for the Leadenmouth area, you've got a total of 36% less properties. That's no surprise because, again, Leven was outperforming. 100% of properties sold actually last year is what came to market in terms of the equivalent. Glenrothes, this is a big surprise. 57% less properties in the Glenrothes area than there was actually last year. All the indicators tell me that the market's going to be really buoyant. So, are we going to get a property crash? Is this actually going to happen? One of the other key indicators we looked at yesterday as well was the credit crunch. So the credit crunch in 2006, where a whole load of properties flooded into the market at the same time, caused the banks to panic. The property prices crashed as a natural result. and therefore property prices came less. Mortgages were basically negative equity. The bank's liquidity was suffering. As a result, they had to rein in all the finance and they had to then protect themselves. Hence the reason they stopped lending. So we'll look at these numbers to see if there's something similar, if there's a similar pattern coming along as to what's on the market right now as to compare to what was on the market in the credit crunch in terms of numbers. Now, numbers of transactions are the most important. Property prices is completely irrelevant if you've got the same property, because it's like for like. If you have a 20% drop in your property and you're selling it, the next person you're buying from has a 20% drop as well. So it's almost like for like in terms of proportionally comparable. So property prices aren't really that important in indicators in telling you where the market is. The more important thing is the number of transactions. So let's take a look at last year, this year, as what's on the market compared to the credit crunch. This is quite startling. So you can see there in the Cooper area today, 31 properties available on the market. It's actually less now. This was done a few weeks ago, this report. The credit crunch, at the peak of the credit crunch, was 47 properties on the market. East Neuk was 24 versus 63. So think about that. There's 24 properties on now. The height of the credit crunch, when there was a real problem and the market were flooded with everything, there was more than double the amount of properties on in the East Neuk area. St Andrews is 47 versus 97, again more than double. Levenmouth is 98 versus 369. That's no surprise, because Levenmouth tends to be a lot of casual labourers, part-time people, as well as different jobs as well. Cooper and East Neuk tend to be retirees, so that doesn't really affect them. So hence the reason there's no need to put their property on the market, because typically their mortgage is all paid. So that's probably why the credit crunch actually released a whole load of properties in the Levenmouth area into the marketplace, because more people were in jobs at that time. Dunfermline, you have 300 versus 984. Again, 3 times as much was on the market in the credit crunch. Glenrothes was 52 versus 441. Wow, 8 times as much. And Kirkcaldy, 253 versus 829. So when you look at overall, there's 800 properties roundabout on the market today. There's about 730 now when I was checking this morning, and versus 2,830 on the market. So you can see there's a huge long way to go before there's any issues of the bank's liquidity and anybody talking about a credit crunch or any problem with the housing market. You've literally got to have about more than 3 times that amount of properties on the market for sale. Actually 4 now, because it's round about the 700 level. So you've got 4 times more properties have to come to market before we've even got near a credit crunch. So I think the bank's liquidity, the way the economy is going just now, everything seems okay in terms of the housing market, and it seems really stable in terms of where things are going. So that's my predictions. My predictions is everything's fine just now. Stamp duty as well. Stamp duty, there might be an issue. There's a campaign going on just now with stamp duty with regards to trying to keep it going in terms of the exemption. We don't know really what's going to happen about that. I think the government, because all indicators are showing here that there is actually a strong indication that prices will begin to rise again. So maybe stamp duty will be curtailed. I actually thought they were going to extend it. It might be curtailed. They might actually stop it. You do have the First Home Fund coming in from the Scottish Government, which is £25,000 for every first-time buyer in Scotland that buys from April onward. So that should come back on stream as well by the Scottish Government. So let's take a look at some of the numbers then in terms of what has actually been sold. Quickly, let's look at the indicator. This is what I look in terms of the website activity. So here's website activity for the last 30 days for us. So this is our website, last 30 days, and you can look at that there straight away. There's the blue dotted line. That shows last year's versus this year's at the same time, the thick blue line. So when you look at that, activity is definitely up. That's another strong indicator. There's 98% increase in terms of our market, in terms of the number of people actually onto our website now. We've got a almost 100% increase since 12 months ago. And so this shows you almost every single day on our website, there's over 1,000 people searching just for properties in Fife. That's only for properties in Fife. After all, that's our name. That's what it said in the tin. So when people are faced with that, I think they actually just go straight for Fife. Okay, so let's look at some of the results that we got in this week. This is quite interesting because this is properties that have actually, some of them have actually sat for a wee while. They've had challenges with them, but we've actually seen good results coming through now. This is Kinshaldy at Kentsmuir Forest. This is a way that, believe it or not, was originally a bell tower. Used to ring the bell, used to put the flag up to tell everybody in Lookers in Garbridge that there was people on the beach ready to deliver goods and services. So they actually had to come down from Garbridge and Lookers onto the beach to actually pick all these up when they used to have boats coming in. This is another one. This is Laurel Brae Springfield. So that's a way as well. Big property. You have Newark Street and St Monans. That's a way as well. George Terrace. There's a classic, George Terrace. This gives us a strong indicator of what's happening in East Neuk. George Terrace, St Monans, people were following our Facebook page as soon as I did a live pre-launch, in other words, a live broadcast on the spot, and showed people straight away what was coming to market. We had actually got offers before we even got there. So before we'd even got to any websites, any Rightmove, Prime Location and Zoopla, people had put in offers and more or less it was accepted. So if you were waiting on a website activity coming out, or waiting, if you're sitting waiting on getting an email from a website to tell you there's a property coming to market, you're not going to get it because people are actually getting in there before you on social media. So you need to follow social media pages in order to see these properties first. Exciting one coming this week. I'm going to be doing a pre-launch for the McCormick Links Hotel in Crail. So that'll be coming on. That's a beautiful 14-bedroom ensuite property. With a bar and a lounge and billiard room and plenty of car parking space. It's a great location, fantastic views. Just watch out for that one. So Burnside, North Cooper, again, sold from social media. The person was desperate. She took her advice, she followed her pages and jumped in there straight away and bought it and made an offer, and it was accepted before it even got to any website portal. By the time it got there and people phoned up, you're too late, it's away. So follow the Facebook pages. Hawfields Gardens in Kennaway, 6-bedroom bungalow, finally away. These are all ones, when I talk about them, if you've got something similar, then please contact us. Feel free to contact us if you're thinking about selling, because every single one of these properties that's sold in this coming week, we've sold, that I'm showing you now, we had other people interested in buying them, or other people interested, and they weren't going to offer because there was just one slight difference. They wanted in their ideal property, which actually put them off this one. So, but they're still out there, they're still looking, so we'll have people looking. A lot of estate agents use it as a typical example to get you to list their property with them. But this is a genuine thing. We do have people waiting, and we make appeals almost constantly now for people looking to sell their properties and similar types of properties to these ones. And then we've got Main Street, Colton Balgony, sold in 6 days. That was a cracking 1-bedroom bungalow, potential to convert it back to a 2, and it had a massive back garden. So that was sold again in 6 days. Mora Street in Methil, sold in 5 days. Again, that was a 3-bedroom upper a flat. It had 3 double bedrooms, lounge and kitchen. It was a massive corner plot to the side there. So you can see to the side that it actually extends all the way out around that side. And again, that was another one that was sold in 5 days. Collinson Avenue, Glenrothes, again, sold in 5 days last week. So the market's going really, really well. This was a 2-bedroom mid-terraced house, sold in 5 days. Listen, everybody got the prices that they wanted. The buyers were happy. The sellers were delighted with the results that we got for them. So again, if you're looking to sell, get in touch with us. I'll put a link in these posts for our instant valuation tool. If you want to do an instant valuation, just click on it. You can get a rough idea. You don't need to speak to anybody as a result of that. You'll get it in 60 seconds. You'll be able to find out the rough idea. And what it does is it tells you the minimum amount of your property. It gives you the maximum amount of the property it could be worth. And then it also gives you a middle banding. If you don't think it's right, then you've got, you can actually contact us. It allows you to contact us and just say, could you just double check that for me? And we're happy to do that for you. If you think it's on the money and you're thinking about, I tell you what, now is the time probably to sell, then by all means, just hit the button and tell us to come and see you or get in touch with you in order to arrange that for you. And that's it, guys. If you've got any further questions, please feel free to message me direct here on this post. And I'll see you next week for the Fife Property Roundup. And bye for now. Okay, see you later. Bye.